Welcome to Breslov Insights. We're reading Rebbe Nachman's advice. We're on Mikvah. 1. Immersing in the Mikvah is the cure for all troubles. The Mikvah has the power to purify us from every kind of sin and impurity. The spiritual power of the Mikvah is rooted in the most exalted levels of wisdom and love. 2. Immersing in a mikveh helps to make it easier to earn a living and receive the flow of blessing. Strife and anger are dissipated, and in their place come peace, love, deep wisdom, and healing, and the length of days and the power to arouse men to God. 3. Immersing in a mikveh is not in the least bit harmful. Any doctor who says that it is no doctor at all. So long as the water is not excessively cold, immersing in the mikveh is actually very beneficial to the body since it opens the sweat glands, as it is known by medical experts. Seasons and festivals. Shabbat. 1. The custom of washing in hot water in the preparation for Shabbat is Tikkun Abrit. The same is true in the practice of reading over the weekly Torah portion twice in Hebrew and once in Aramaic. 2. Shabbat observance is the foundation of genuine faith. All the acts of charity and other good deeds that we do are invested with radiance and perfection only in the virtue of the Shabbat, because Shabbat is very embodiment of faith. Charity has the power to bring an abundance of blessings and holy influences into the world, but they only become manifested in actuality because of the Shabbat. As the embodiment of faith, Shabbat is the foundation of all blessings. Shabbat brings everything in the world to its ultimate perfection. Without Shabbat and the faith it brings with it, all things are lacking. This applies to our dot, the understanding we have of godliness in our knowledge of the Torah. True wisdom in the understanding of the Torah can blossom only through the influence of Shabbat and faith. 3. In order to experience the essential holiness of the Shabbat, namely true faith, it is necessary to observe the Holy Covenant in purity. There is a deep connection between the Shabbat and the Covenant, which explains why it is customary to spend Shabbat with the tzaddikim. The holiness of the tzaddikim derives from the fact that they guard the covenant in purity in all its aspects. People try to spend Shabbat with them in order to experience the true holiness of Shabbat in deepening their faith. 4. One should try to draw holiness of Shabbat into the 6 working days of the week and sanctify them also. The more the weekdays are invested with holiness, the more forces of evil, the filthy serpent, and the end of all flesh, and the raging storm winds are subdued. Through this, speech becomes elevated. 5. By making a vow and carrying it out immediately, you can come to experience the true joy of Shabbat, the Oneg Shabbat. The main joy of Shabbat comes from the food we eat in purity and in holiness. At the 3 fixed meals, and at other times during the Shabbat, it is a mitzvah to eat all kinds of fine foods and special delicacies. Those who truly experience the joy of Shabbat can, by their very eating on Shabbat, reach spiritual levels which they could only otherwise achieve by fasting. They can conquer anger, reach such levels as understanding, and the radiance of Hashem shines in their very face, and all their enemies simply fall away before them. 6. How precious and holy is it, the act of eating on Shabbat. It is completely sufficed with godliness without the slightest hint of impurity. The forces of the Sitra Achra, the other side, have no share at all in the Shabbat food. Anger is conquered, and the force of wild passion is uprooted and cast aside. Love and peace reign supreme. 7. It is also necessary to give generously to charity. Then you will find a profound peace. The experience of joy of the Shabbat food, together with the act of charity, brings about peace that has a mouth. There is one kind of peace that has no mouth. That is the state of peace existing between people who are nevertheless unable to speak to each other. But peace which has a mouth is the state of perfect peace, where men talk to one another, for the lips are invested with a wonderful illumination when we eat on Shabbat. Thanks and Shabbat Shalom, and we'll continue next week.